Make some noise. Hadithi, Hadithi.
To some extent, as society, the reason it's so difficult for us to have like open conversations about sexuality or whatnot is I think sometimes we just we're more obsessed about what other people identify as than what we identify as ourselves. Because if you could ask somebody now, like, okay, why do you think you this, or why do you think you identify as this? They don't know, but they're so quick to be like, oh no, but why do you identify as that? But what does that mean? But we don't like actually focus on us and be like, okay, if you're gonna say like, okay, no, I'm attracted to males. Why is that? Why Because I think as we grow older, we realize a lot of things that we believe in because we've been taught to do things a certain way from a young age. And it's now should be when we actually reevaluate and we actually figure out why we believe certain things and so that we own our truth, so that it becomes ours and not something that's been passed down from one generation to the next. But instead of doing that, we're looking at other people and obsessing over what they identify as. So I think that's why maybe it's difficult to have conversations.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, sponsor? Oh, here's another mic.
I think it's also about being scared, you know. While we were thinking about the theme, I thought at some point my cousins and I went on an experimental spree, I would call it, right? There was 3 of us, and then there's just one who was friends with a lesbian girl. And we were all intrigued because we didn't know, like, why, okay, there's this thing that she's lesbian. What is lesbianism? Like, all of that, right? And it so happened that we wanted to experiment and have fun and just see where it takes us out of curiosity, right? So from that point, it was, okay, we also got scared in that, okay, no, we're no longer doing that. We're not lesbian. We don't like girls or whatever the case is. But not necessarily, it didn't come from the point of you knowing what it, like who you really are, but more from the fact that I cannot be this person because there's judgment against it. Like, I know, for instance, if I had to say that at home, where do you get it from? As if it's a disease, you know? So I think that's where we are at a society, which is wrong, but we need to get to a point where we eliminate the fear. There's no need to be afraid because it's not a disease, it's not a condition, but it's rather how people are. And once we accept that, the same way we don't question that someone is it heterosexual?
Yes.
that someone is heterosexual. Let's do the same with people within the LGBTQI community. That's it.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know if I openly tell the story, but I've kissed a girl before, and I liked it. You know, but for me, it was, in as much as I liked it, it was almost an out of body experience because it's not who I am. You know, just in the sense that if you are a girl and you like another girl, or if you're a guy and you like another guy, you kissing someone of the opposite gender will be, you might like it because, oh, hey, you know, but it would be an out of body experience for you because it's not who you are. And I think the moment that we can accept, that's why I think in my story I told that before anything else we are human, you know. Let's like each other as humans, you know. That's what I feel, and that's what I think someone who's tried to explain a pansexual person. Hopefully I'm not messing it up because someone tried to explain everything to me, but a pansexual is someone who is not necessarily attracted to gender, but to people and their personalities. So, and their minds, yes, their minds. You see, I'm learning each day. So yes, so is there anyone else who would like to share why they think it's still such a, a hard thing for people to express, when it comes to our sexuality and our sexual orientations, I'm still yet to meet a transgender, and I'd love to meet a transgender because I feel like they're the most, people, because to realize that the body that you have been assigned is not the body that you are really meant to be in, and for you to make the, the conscious decision to be who you want to be, for me, it's very fascinating. So if you would like to,
I think maybe it's also around the violence of bodies, body violence, whether it is a physical violence or it is a verbal violence. But I think a lot of people, because my best friend who I grew up with, I met him at age 8 through a different friend, and he stole my bag. I was searching for my bag, and after that encounter when he stole my bag, we became friends. And he identifies as gay and is very effeminate and is very outspoken in that notion. And so with him being the way he is, I generally encounter a lot of very feminine, outspoken gay people in community when I'm with my friend. And so there's a lot around the fact of violence. People fear because all of a sudden when they come out as gay now, they can be targeted or could be targeted. And I think a lot of that has to do is why people would hide why they are. Because the moment people know that you are gay or identify as the LGBTQI community, people will target you or people will treat you differently. All of a sudden now you're not the person you knew. And there was something that I read once that said that when you come out to people, it's as if the person they knew dies and they are mourning that person's loss. Their reaction is in response to mourning because of who they reconcile it that you are someone different now. But actually, study shows us that sexuality is not related to personality. It's not related to character. So these things are completely different out of each other. And that's why there are these stereotypes of a homosexual male on TV being a grossly flamboyant person. But then you would find very masculine men who are. And those connections are by way of, it's not a thing of expression. Sexuality is not tied to expression. For some people it might be something that they want to make a part of who they are, but other people it's just what they do in the bedroom. Yeah. So it's quite different, and also maybe in context we should also look at it in context that Port Elizabeth, although brave, is still very cowardice in many a sense. We still have a very, how do we put it? Do we say leftist notion of thinking? Port Elizabeth is still very conserved in their notions, in their ways. And so when the topic of sexuality always comes out, it's a very soft point to thread on for people. I think with myself, I've struggled a lot because of upbringing, because of where I am. And it would always be but aren't you bisexual? I'm no, I'm not bisexual. It's something different. It's something, and then it's no. So there's also violence within the community itself. Because someone was saying to me that safe spaces sometimes can be not safe, can be violent. Because safe spaces have rules that they adhere to. And all of a sudden when you contravene these rules, you oppose the structure. And that's why you're seeing every day there's another letter added to the LGBTQ. Because they are trying to create this inclusive space where I think we need to move rather away from the concept of othering. When we move away from the concept of othering, we'll truly get into a space where we truly have a safe space where no one has to come out again. Because this idea of obsession with naming it, with knowing why it is the way it is, with trying to force people to define where they are. I know many straight males who would be able to say, yo, I love Mshita. That guy is hot. But they would have nothing to do, but they could recognize that because it's something entirely different. I think I'm babbling a lot now, so I'm going to give you my...
You're babbling with a good point. And I think just to add a little bit to the violence behind it, I know my friend that I've shared my story about, Yanga, her wife, they have talks of, Yanga would strongly tell Sia, don't tell people that you are lesbian.
Wow.
Because there is, especially where they are in East London, there's almost like a bit of a spike in corrective rape. Is it corrective? Is that the word? Yes. Corrective rape, murders because they are lesbian. So to Yanga, that is her way of protecting her wife. That don't tell them that you are married to a woman, because then they'll come after you and they're going to kill you, or they're going to rape you. And, so to her, that's her way of trying to protect her wife. But why do we need to even get there? I mean, why can't you just let people be who they are? So, yes, maybe one or two more people would like to share? Anybody? Somebody! Help. I've got the Lion King running in my mind right now. Yeah. Okay, so if we don't have anybody else with, to share why it's so hard for us to speak about, can I maybe then open the floor to somebody who would like to share a story? Someone who would like to express the experience of tonight, how they've felt about tonight. Anyone who would like, even if it's criticism, we are those people. We take the punches and we fix it, because ultimately, this is not a space for us. For Ponzo and myself in Port Elizabeth, it's a space for the community of Port Elizabeth to be able to come here and express. So we are just two people who, have our own opinions and have our own understanding of things, but we might not be doing things that way that the PE people want them to be done. So if you have suggestions of how we might make this better for you, because every event we have our audience numbers, they shift, I don't know if it's according to theme or what the situation might be, but, they shift. Some we have a bit of a bigger turnout, some we have a lesser turnout, so, yeah. So somebody? Hi, Wangani. Would you like to come share? Hadithi?
Hadithi, no!
Is it okay if I sit?